Good morning, everybody. My name is Amy Fuller. Welcome to the Auburn Public Theater and welcome to the State of the City and County presentations. We haven't had this event in person since 2019, so welcome back. I want to start by thanking our silver sponsor, 2+4 Management Company. They've been the sponsor throughout COVID, even when we were virtual, so I want to give them a big round of applause. Thank you to 2+4. I also want to thank our Diamond members, Tompkins Community Bank, Lions National Bank, and Lakeside Enterprise of the Cayuga Nation. So thank you, Diamond members, for your continued support. This morning, Mayor Michael Quill will start things off, followed by City Manager Jeff Dygert, and then we will have the Cayuga County Legislative Chair, Dave Gould, and some other folks from the county give their update. We're going to save all the questions for after the county presentation. So with that, I want to welcome Michael Quill to the stage.
People are coming down, that's the challenge. So, good morning, everyone. Sit back, relax. About 30 minutes, I'll be finishing up, and you can wake up and get a cup of coffee and get your day started. Fair enough? Starting off, thanks to the Chamber of Commerce and Auburn Public Theater for hosting this event. I'd like to recognize my fellow city councilors. Councilor Ginny Ken is here. Ginny? Councilor Jimmy Genentino. I do not believe that Councilor Cuddy is here, nor Councilor LaCastro. Councilor LaCastro is probably in Florida watching his son play ball, and I don't blame him a bit. So, City Manager Jeff Dygert, who you'll be hearing from shortly, and then City Clerk Chuck Mason, who keeps myself and members of council on track, which I'm sure his job is similar to herding kittens, but he does a fantastic job. As I have said many times, this is the toughest presentation a mayor is asked to deliver. This is my 16th and final year as mayor of Auburn, and I'm both humbled and pleased that Auburn residents have allowed me the opportunity to lead our great city. The City of Auburn works under a city manager form of government, basically meaning that the city manager works for the City of Auburn, but is supervised by the mayor and members of council. To me, this is a perfect solution to how our city operates. With approximately 300 employees, City Manager Dygert, his department heads, and rank and file employees have things well in control. Our city is a 24/7 operation, regardless of weekends, holidays, weather events, or whatever. I know I speak on behalf of myself and my fellow councilors that we are very proud of Mr. Dygert and all of our employees. No pay raise this year, Mr. Dygert, sorry. There are many exciting things going on in Auburn and many more opportunities for growth, which I'm sure that Mr. Dygert will be speaking on shortly. From a personal level, I have decided it's time to retire. Joan and I have 4 grandchildren between the ages of 8 and 15, and we're looking forward to more time with them, and I'm sure they are just as excited. I'm very thankful and proud that the citizens of Auburn have displayed their trust in myself for all these years to lead our city. I've been asked numerous times, why would you become involved in politics? To be quite honest, I've had a fantastic life, and I feel I owe a debt to allow others the same opportunities. My great-grandfather, Jeremiah Quill, who purchased a home on Chapman Avenue, it's probably halfway between South Street and Dunning Avenue, it still remains in the family hands since the 1800s. But I never met him. He was a member of the Cayuga County Board of Supervisors, in which is now known as the Cayuga County Legislature. He passed away midterm. My grandfather, James D. Quill, was appointed to serve out his father's term, but was unsuccessful in a re-election bid. He went on to become a member of Auburn City Council, where he served for 20 years. Seeing the way people reacted to him and the respect they showed him was amazing. Our city and myself have grown and prospered so much in my lifetime that I felt and still feel It is my responsibility to continue that tradition. There's so many great things going on in our city, and is due to Mr. Diger and all the fellow employees. Many things have happened in the past 19 years that I'm both proud and excited about. Relationship and support with Cayuga County, our surrounding towns and villages, the revitalization of downtown, the Equal Rights Heritage Museum, closure of the city landfill. There are so many improvements that it's hard to keep track of them all. At the same time, there are always ongoing issues that need to be addressed. And soon, the quality of Owaska Lake, our city's infrastructure regarding water distribution and proper removal and treatment of wastewater, repairing and upkeep of the streets, housing stock, just to mention a few, but these are always on our agenda. Our city staff is more than aware of what and how this can be accomplished. But in all honesty, it is very expensive, and the competition for federal and New York State grants increases continuously. But our staff, led by Mr. Diger and the respective department heads, are up to the task. I'd like to leave on a high note. My glass has always been half full, and it still is. At the end of our session today, we'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have. Well, for now, I'd like to introduce our city manager, Mr. Jeff Diger.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you not only for the introduction, but for many years of service to the city of Auburn and all of the departments and the community in general. As I go through here, I want to start out with thanking some of our staff members that make this happen. I also want to thank the Chamber and Auburn Public Theater, Jenny Haynes and Steve Selvik from our Planning and Economic Development Department that put this together for us every year and help do that. Christina Selvik and Nia Kloster from our Capital Projects and Grants portion of the city. Their hard work, as many of you know, allow us to take on these major financial projects and accomplish them and keep us competitive in Central New York. Rachel Jacobs and Teresa Adams from our Comptroller's office that try to keep a watchful eye over our municipal finances as we go along. And all of our department heads and city staff who deliver a wide range of services every day throughout the city, much of it that typically goes unnoticed, but goes unnoticed when it's happening, and if there's a glitch from time to time, that's when people tend to notice the most. I wanted to highlight today really some of the projects that we've undertaken and how we've tried to invest responsibly taxpayer dollars, including state and federal funds that find their way back to the city of Auburn. One of those projects is the East Hill Paving and Improvement Project. This project was a multitude of things, including water services, wastewater services, streets, sidewalks, things like that, tied into some neighborhood revitalization on John Street. And some of the funding for this, the majority of the funding for this came from a new funding source from New York State over the last couple of years, which is referred to as the New York State Touring Route Funds. We've been trying to responsibly reallocate those funds throughout the community to do different projects. So East Hill was just one of those projects. John Street, as I mentioned, was part of that overall. We did a street lighting project in Technology Park. For years, Technology Park existed, but it was a very dark existence down there at times when the sun went down. So there's a street lighting project there that's been pretty much wrapped up. Little things that we really don't think about frequently, like guardrails throughout the city, repair of guardrails, the replacement of the decorative streetlight poles on South Street in our historic district was financed through the touring route funding. And we are anticipating additional road work from our annual road repair program, including portions of State Street, which if you've been down State Street recently, you probably have noticed you don't want to be holding a cup of coffee when you drive down through there. So that's on the plan, as well as portions of South Street. The road striping, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but it certainly aesthetically and safety-wise is a significant issue, so that's part of our project. And I didn't see Guy Cosentino walk in, but he normally, one of the questions he typically asks is about how we're going to ever synchronize traffic signals within the city, right? Because that always tends to be a big issue that comes back to us. And we actually, technology is now on our side, and we have the ability now through the state touring routes, we're going to be incrementally installing visual detection, traffic detection equipment that will optimize those intersections and essentially hopefully get the timing down right. After all these years, technology will help us do that. Our annual road repair program, as I mentioned, has gotten a really significant boost over the last couple of years with the touring routes funding. We're trying to do the best we can to stretch those dollars. In recent years, we take a three-pronged approach to our street program. Some of that is simple things like a crack sealing program where trucks go down and folks manually apply crack sealant to improve the longevity of the street. Another thing that was implemented a few years ago on the advice of our engineering department was a microsurfacing program, which the best way I can explain that is almost like if you were going to reseal your driveway, and it helps prolong the life of the roadway without the extra added expense of actually paving. And then, of course, full paving projects. Again, boosted by our New York State Touring Funds program and a few other New York State programs aimed at keeping our roads in good shape. A handful of years ago, we moved to a quadrant-based system in the city so that in theory, we don't have the entire city torn up during the short construction season that we have. That seems to be working well. And if you pay a little attention to what's going on, what we try to do is the year prior to paving, we try to get in and take care of our water, sewer, and natural gas infrastructure in those areas. And we're going to step that up and also attempt to do sidewalks and curbs 1 year ahead of the paving projects so that we can keep a good flow going. Going to try to hit on various departments as we go through here. Really quickly, the Auburn Fire Department provides a whole host of different services from emergency medical service, fire suppression, education relating to fire safety and all aspects of safety. They did approximately 7,900 calls for service this past year. It's our first full year in the new fire station. The new fire station is now serving as a community building with a lot of things happening in the emergency operations center / training room, hosts all sorts of different events, whether it be blood drives, our voting that typically happens in a public building, and a lot of community outreach events and things like that. The fire department has continued. I really wanted to avoid saying COVID here because we've all had enough of that. But the fire department continues its partnership with the Cayuga County Health Department, East Hill Medical, related to vaccination clinics and things like that, and a host of other projects. Auburn Police Department, again, very busy out in the community. The role of our emergency services, police, fire, and EMS continues to evolve. The pressure on all of those services to provide an ever-growing range of services to the community is quite real. In the last year, the Auburn Police Department implemented a body-worn camera project, so all of our officers now in the street are wearing and utilizing body-worn cameras for their protection as well as protection of the community. Major undertaking. It's not as simple as just wearing a camera. There's an awful lot that goes on behind the scenes to record that information, log that information, and actually at one point or another refer back to that information and access it if needed. The police department also is finishing up a multi-year process to become an accredited police agency, and that'll wrap up later this fall. One of the other things that is going on with the police department, one of the increasing stressors on the police department is the community need for mental health services and things of that nature. So we've partnered with Cayuga County for mobile crisis intervention team. That is still a work in progress, but is moving ahead. Little over a year ago, the city embarked on a municipal-run ambulance service based on a recognized need in the community to provide more consistent level of care. I can tell you that that has happened. We are providing 3 ambulance service in the community on a consistent basis, responding both to emergency 911 calls and interfacility transfers, which help the hospital maintain their capacity. So in the past year, the ambulance responded to approximately 7,100 calls for service. Approximately 4,800 of those were emergency transports to hospitals, and just over 800 of those were interfacility transfers that take people out of our local hospital to other hospitals, either in central New York or sometimes great distances. That allows the local hospital to continue to treat our local residents and visitors, and try to keep as much capacity within the local hospital as possible. At times, the ambulance service is extremely busy. Yesterday, for example, all 5 of our physical ambulances were responding to calls and providing service. So we keep 3 in service and 5 at the ready, and all 5 were in service yesterday. 3 of those ambulances were doing interfacility transfers at that time. Coming up in relation to the picture that you see on the right is what is more commonly known as the police station and fire station. The fire station currently houses the ambulance service. Those buildings are approximately 100 years old. They were built in about 1930. So we are embarking on a project to upgrade those facilities to meet modern needs and support, create the infrastructure support, both electrically and technology-wise, that we need to. So those projects are underway. Along the same lines, we are working with the county on a project to upgrade the city court facilities, which are housed in a county-owned building, the old post office. So that's another project that we're working on. And we're just wrapping up the project to rebuild the municipal parking garage in downtown. So we don't have a slide for that, but you're all familiar with that. It's not necessarily a architectural gem, but it provides utility to the city and our businesses downtown. And we're just wrapping up both a structural and some cosmetic work and security work to that facility. As far as the ambulance goes, we continue to work with our partners in the community in the healthcare industry, both East Hill Family Medical, Auburn Community Hospital, to improve the delivery of medical services in the community. Our Public Works Department sometimes goes unnoticed or without a lot of accolades, I should say. It doesn't go unnoticed. We notice it all the time. We especially notice when something doesn't happen at a particular time. It's amazing how many people in our community really pay particular attention to things like trash removal. We literally have folks in the community that if trash removal is much more than 15 or 20 minutes behind schedule, they start calling and wondering what's going on. So we literally as a community can set our watch by the services that our folks provide. So not only do our Public Works Department visits every house, every business in the community once a week for trash removal, we also do things like our tree program. So we've probably noticed in the last couple of years as we try to deal with some disease in our street trees, that there's been an awful lot of tree removals. And I will tell you that for each of those removals, there is an in-kind planting of a new tree of an appropriate species that is more resistant to disease and more appropriate for the settings on the streets that we have. So a lot of thought goes into that. Our Public Works Department also maintains all of our city buildings and facilities, including parks and playgrounds. They're removing snow from our streets, and just generally taking care of things, including programming our parks and playgrounds for events during the summer months. Demolitions, I'll just say it doesn't seem like a big deal, but this is a very big deal for us to maintain the quality of our neighborhoods and also provide for opportunities for future growth. So we're taking a very careful look at our neighborhoods. As a matter of fact, at this evening's council meeting, Jenny Haynes from our planning department is going to be doing a presentation on housing. It's multifaceted. There's a lot of things to it. We are looking at opportunities for a variety of new housing, but we also are trying to deal with neighborhood blight and quality of life issues in our neighborhoods. And part of that is actually getting rid of old dilapidated buildings that impact the character of neighborhoods. We have a major, every year for the last few years, we seem to have had a major park improvement project or playground improvement project. Over roughly the last 10 years, there's been a major transformation in our parks and playgrounds, and it's very noticeable. It's especially noticeable in neighborhoods. Casey Park has received a lot of attention. Thank you to the City Council for the support to invest so much into a facility that dates back about 50 years and for many years was, for lack of a better term, neglected. The pool's been renovated, the hockey rink's been renovated, the facility, the building itself has had a new roof put on and other investments, tennis courts, basketball courts, the playground in that area, adjacent Falcon Park, and now something that probably a lot of you necessarily in this room may not be aware of, and I guess I wasn't aware of how much community support and interest there was in a skate park. So this is a project that's moving ahead. This is going to be approximately a $900,000 project funded through various sources, including CDBG, some grants from state parks and things like that, to create a new skate park at Casey Park that really looks like it's going to become a draw in central New York. Again, a lot of our buildings, we're an old city and we love our history, and that's great, but it comes with the need to do occasional upgrades. So over the last year or so, and in looking into the future, we plan on doing some significant upgrades to City Hall. We've already done some things like improving the electrical infrastructure for the main feed coming into City Hall, security upgrades, things like that. It has an old slate roof, which can be problematic for us. So we're working through significant investment in City Hall to make sure that that serves us well far into the future. State Street Plaza in the last year or so may have been one of the most obvious projects that the city undertook, and this was the site of the former Calett's department store. The vacant building and the vacant lot was a blight on the State Street area that dates back to the 1990s, and with a lot of work from our staff and some cooperation from the neighbors, we were finally able to do something there and get rid of what I think some people are probably becoming fond of, the green or blue plywood barrier that was there for many years. But I think that everybody can agree that this was an improvement in the area. It provides some utility, provides an area for local residents and folks that are going to the restaurants and things like that to actually have an outdoor space to utilize. And this was one of our DRI projects. Significant funding for that project came through the DRI. Again, some things that happen on a daily basis, but we tend not to think about what goes into getting water out of the tap at the house and what happens to wastewater when it leaves the house, but those are major costs for us and major initiatives for us. So currently, there is a project underway at the wastewater treatment plant in order to continue to provide the community, not only the city of Auburn, but our neighbors and water purchasers throughout the area good, clean, safe drinking water. So a wastewater treatment plant project is about a $6.5 million project. That plant is over 100 years old, and it's old, reliable technology that we're going to maintain that type of a process at this point in time. And it's been reliable for us for many years, but we needed that investment out there. And again, along with this, I want to recognize our municipal utility staff, the folks that are out there that not only staff these types of facilities, our water treatment plant, our wastewater treatment plant, but the folks that are out there in the street on below zero days, replacing broken water mains, taking care of plugged up sewer mains and things like that. They're out there every day making it so that most of us don't have to give it a second thought when we utilize those services. That municipal utilities crew also maintains the dams in the city, our hydroelectric facilities, and through their work with the dams, regulate the level of Owasco Lake. You may have heard of our major investment coming for the wastewater treatment facility. This is about an $84 million project, which seems huge, and yes, admittedly, it is a huge project. It's a needed project, and it will help to modernize our processes at the wastewater treatment facility and allow us to comply with regulations that are out there related to how we handle waste. And ultimately, in some aspects of the operation, will actually save us money and provide some efficiencies down the road. Again, major investment with this project. And what we're seeing as we go along is we're doing these things to provide service to the community as it exists now, but we're also looking to the future and how do we make sure we're providing the appropriate level of service to support potential growth in business and industry or residential expansion, which is something that we haven't in the past necessarily talked about an awful lot. CSO, or combined sewer overflow. This is something that happens within the city when we get a heavy rainfall, all that excess water, all that water that hits a surface where it can't absorb into the ground, roofs and paved streets and things like that. All that water has to be taken care of somehow, and ideally it goes into our local waterways. But in the past, many, many years ago, when the systems were built, some of this goes into our sanitary sewer system. And what that does is it potentially overloads our sewer system and reduces the capacity of our water filtration facilities, our wastewater filtration facilities. So throughout the years, we continue to invest in sewer separation, which improves our ability to deal with legitimate sewer. Wanted to just update folks really quickly on some DRI funded projects. Again, through the hard work of staff, we were able to, a few years ago, get $10 million from New York State for their Downtown Revitalization Initiative project. And so far, some projects that were completed within that portfolio were the Auburn Fire Department's Public Safety Building, the State Street Plaza, which was mentioned, the Nick's Ride Clubhouse near the Holiday Inn here in Auburn, Rudolph's, and the CCC, Community College Culinary Institute on Genesee Street. We still have some projects that are underway and making progress, such as the West End Arts Center campus, the Seward Museum's Barn and Carriage House project, a project here at Auburn Public Theater, a mixed-use project at 22 East Genesee Street, where it'll be housing as well as retail space, a project at Health Central, public art project for the downtown area, and a restoration project at Willard Memorial Chapel. In the last few months, Auburn Community Hospital has been able to secure funding for a couple major transformational projects. So we wanted to acknowledge those things as you drive by the the intersection of North Street and Lansing Street. There's a big project going on there. That is going to be a cancer center in partnership with SUNY Upstate. So that project is currently underway. And recently, Auburn Community Hospital was informed that they were awarded a $20 million grant to expand their operating rooms and cardiac care unit. So that project will get underway. It will expand the capacity and range of services that our local hospital will be able to provide here locally, and let people in the community avoid the trip to Syracuse or Rochester and things like that. So we're glad to see that happening. The hospital is certainly a major employer in the area and the provider of certainly a major player in the community health. Alstom, most of you recognize this as Bombardier, the big blue building on the west end of town. I'm including this just because it tends to be a topic of conversation and has been for many years. It's been vacant for a little over 15 years at this point. The previous owner, Bombardier, they were a decent partner for the city. They paid taxes, they maintained the building to a certain level, but there was never a whole lot of discussion and movement related to reutilizing that facility. And it really is a detriment to that part of the community, I think, and the community as a whole. A little while ago, Bombardier Worldwide was bought out by a new company called Alstom, a major player in the rail industry worldwide. We have had continued and productive conversations with the folks at Alstom, and we are confident that we will be working towards seeing the Alstom facility back in use in some way, shape, or form in the future. So our staff, the staff at CETA, are working hard to find a new use for that building, and Alstom is working with us along the way for that. So we're excited about that. This could be one of the most transformational things potentially we've done in the city of Auburn if we can make that happen. I'm going to put this up there. I'm assuming that our colleagues at the county are going to spend a significant amount of time talking about Micron. I just want folks to know that the city of Auburn is working hand in hand with Cayuga County, CETA. We are working very hard to make sure that we are relevant in the discussion of Micron in Central New York. We are pursuing a lot of different initiatives. We want to make sure that we're well positioned for commercial development, and part of that is our appropriate investment and maintenance of our utilities, water and sewer. We're finding more and more as we discuss projects with commercial developers that water, sewer, and power are the big issues. So again, we are making major investments in water and sewer, and that I think will serve us well in the coming years as we deal with things, the spinoff from Micron. But I will say this, what Micron has done, in my opinion, for us as a community, it's caused us to, not that we ever forgot about it, but we've got some renewed focus, some renewed energy, and in concentration on commercial development and neighborhoods, because now we have some real opportunity. We are seeing or experiencing more interest in commercial properties that I don't think are necessarily related to Micron. It's just time. I think it's our time, and we're taking that very seriously. We're trying to really take a good look at how we're approaching things as far as land use goes, residential development and commercial development. We have some great opportunities out there. We're trying to put ourselves in the best position to deal with all of those. And with that, that's kind of the close for me. I want to make sure I leave enough room. Our Cayuga County Legislative Chairman, Dave Gould, I don't know if anybody knows David Gould or not, but he's coming up next, and he informed me that he had a little longer presentation than we had, so I want to make sure we give the county enough time to do their thing. So thank you all. And it's good to actually see some real faces instead of everybody in their own individual little box on a screen. So,
Thanks, Jeff.
thank you, Dave.
Ours was a little longer till you got talking, but now I think it's a little shorter. But thanks, Jeff. I want to thank Amy and the chamber, certainly, and all the chamber members and APT for letting us use this beautiful facility, that's for sure, and all of you attending. I will try to be a little shorter than Jeff. I probably won't be, but I'll try. I'm grateful to be here today to present you the state of the city and the state of the county for 2023 as chairman of the Cayuga County Legislature. I will have completed 2 terms as chairman, and as they say, there is always work in progress. The oversight and growth of this county involves a whole community. I am so proud for our continuous work focused on building, strengthening, and developing our county and keeping it in the positive spotlight. We will continue to thrive to grow as a community team. The work put forth encompasses a team of 15 legislators, districts 1 through 15. Coming in 2024, and I think you already know this, the number of legislators will be reduced by 10 to 11. And I voted for that, and I think that is the right thing to do. I think smaller government is better government. I enjoy working with the team of legislators on a daily basis. They all bring forth strengths that build our sense of community. In addition, they ensure that all views and beliefs of our residents are heard and supported. Their time and work is very much appreciated. There's 15 dedicated people from throughout the county, and all of you know them. And everybody, I've been around, since 2000, early 2000s, coming to these meetings. And this is certainly a diverse set of legislators, I can tell you that. So it is a different type of legislature, but they all have their opinions, and they're very well versed in everything that they say. In addition to the group of legislators, our community team includes over 700 dedicated employees working within 30 departments. The departments, to name a few, are employment and training, weights and measures, highway, social services, public health, DMV, veterans, emergency service, and it goes on and on. Our community team is also comprised of our loyal volunteers, such as, but not limited to, our volunteer firefighters and volunteer drivers that assist with delivery of food for Meals on Wheels program offered by the Cayuga County Office for the Aging. Those are dedicated people that drive around this county every day, serving people that are unable to get out of their homes. They're great volunteers. And last but surely not least, our team includes the numerous residents and members of the public. We could not be where we are today without the people. With people, we grow, enhance knowledge, and gain experience. All of this guides us to develop and move with the constant societal changes and challenges. This is teamwork, and it keeps our county services on the map. What is the topic the most showing interest? Common questions. Of course, money's always the topic. People want to know, how much do I have to pay for that? Or are there other ways to find funding that is needed? Finding alternative funding for our county is always ongoing. Legislators and department heads, in collaboration with the budget director, Lynn Marinelli, work diligently on ensuring financial stability for their department services and for our county as a whole. The county is currently canvassing for a grant manager. I asked for this position when I started in the legislature 2 years ago. I really think this county's always needed a grant manager to find out. I think we're missing grants out there that people just don't have time to look for. This position will help with the research on finding funding relevant to our services and with the objective to financially assist with supporting our growth and development. The good news is we have received new funds. The county has received $1 million to use toward the replacement of emergency personnel radios throughout Cayuga County. These funds will help replace outdated radios in all our volunteer fire departments. Next, the county received $2 million towards the storage of digital records, which will be permanently stored at the county records stored in the county office building. Lastly, the county received $1.5 million for funding towards the homeless shelter project from Restore New York. This funding will help with the renovation cost for 197 State Street in Auburn. The county, I think everybody knows what ARPA means. ARPA is the American Rescue Plan Act. The county allocated ARPA funds in the latter part of 2022 to the local small businesses. I formed a small working group to implement and initiate the Cayuga County COVID-19 Small Business Grant Program. 500,000 of ARPA funds were allocated by the legislature in 2022. Round one results, 54 applicants and 37 small businesses received grants, average of $10,000 per grant per small business. 21 grant awards within the city of Auburn, 16 grant awards outside the city in towns and villages. The group partnered with CETA, and I really want to thank CETA. I don't know if Mike's here or any of the CETA board, but we really want to thank them for their cooperation with us and working with us on that. There will be a round two. There is $200,000 balance of grant funds left, and that will be sent out very quickly. Shireen Andrasco, our new Cayuga County Operations Officer. Shireen started about a year ago. I interviewed her with a few other people, and Shireen was the best we could find, and believe me, we picked the right lady. She'll be speaking in a little while, but she's done such an outstanding job. She's been my right hand, left hand, and everything else. Steve Lynch will be presenting. He's the director of Cayuga County Economic and Development Department. I think everybody knows Steve. Shireen will be presenting some highlights related to the departmental operation projects and employee development. Steve will provide the updated plans involving economic development, farmland and water quality protection plans, waterfront revitalization, and parks. I sure do not want to take their spotlight away, so I'll just say a few words about these projects. To begin, everyone was asking, where is Cayuga County relative to Micron and their entrance? Jeff just mentioned this a few minutes ago. Work has started for preparing for Micron in establishment into White Plains. The county and the city are working together as a team, and I want to emphasize that. The city's been such a great partner since I've taken over. I know they did before, but we've had friendships, Jeff and I, and the mayor forever. And I think we're working better than ever, and we have to get this Micron system here. The Micron company is projected to create 9,000 jobs over 20 years and bring an additional 40,000 supply chain and construction jobs, not only in Syracuse, but all through central New York. White Plains and the Micron location is 7 miles north of the city of Syracuse and only about 30 to 35 miles from our northern Cayuga County area. We must be ready, and we will be. Not all residents, employees, and affiliates will be located within the White Plains area. They will filter out into the surrounding counties. I ask that 4 working groups be initiated, having key community stakeholders specific in each area. These groups meet regularly and report on a monthly basis to the steering committee. The group areas are housing development, workforce development, clean energy, and site and research planning. They have all done a great job. All 4 committees meet, I think, every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and they report back to us on a monthly basis. We are in contact with people in Syracuse, certainly Ryan McMahon and his group. They've been a great help for us. All of this is part of our county thriving and growing and doing so as a community team. We will continue our networking and collaboration to ensure that our county is in the eyesight of those relocating for residence, employment, and/or business. Next is the plan for moving forward with the first major improvement to the Fire Training Command Center out on Quarry Road. I think you all know where that is. The Fire Training Center was first constructed in 2003. This renovation project includes a classroom addition and a vehicle storage building, along with a design having numerous site improvements. We are pursuing finalizing the schematic plans, which will move us into the quotes and bids for construction. What will it be when we are completed? The Fire Training Center will be an upgraded and improved training center that is available to all fire departments in our county, including the city fire department. Initial training, skill sessions, and many other events can resume happening in one central facility that the county is proud to offer to its first responders for use. It is a very exciting project. If anybody's been out there lately, I know the fire department and their members know about this, but those buildings are falling apart. It's been years, it's been 20 years, and they're falling apart, and we just need something great for our volunteer fire departments and the city to at least train and learn how to do different things in this training center. It'll be great. We appreciate and are very thankful for the work and our time our emergency management staff, and Shireen will talk about this in a little while. City and volunteer fire departments have put forth in this. It's been a volunteer work. Next is the renovation, and I'm sure you've all heard about this. This is all I get asked, the renovations to the county office building. It's been quite a trip, believe me. The Cayuga County office building located on Genesee Street in central Auburn was built in the 1960s, early 1960s. Discussion of its renovation has been going on since I remember, since 2004. It's been 19 years. People have talked about it and done nothing about it. We are finally going to do something about it. We have to. In 2022, Barton and LaJudas finished their comprehensive feasibility study of the building, which included evaluation of department space needs. From there, an RFP, a request for proposal, was solicited for architectural and engineering plans, and Bergman and Associates LLC was chosen. We just did that probably last month. We're moving forward with the schematic plans in preparation for the RFP construction, designs, and renovations. Schematic plans will consist of 2 options to be reviewed by the legislature. We started off with 4 options. We've got it down to 2. We're waiting for prices to come back with these 2 options. The first one is to renovate the existing building the way it is, floor by floor. No additions, nothing else, just floor by floor. The second option is to renovate the existing building and add on a 3-story structure around the west side and the south side. The renovation project has estimated preliminary cost of about $35 million. Updates to the project will continue as we move forward. I will certainly advise the county and the city as we go with the updates of that. Our salt shed, it sounds like a little thing, but it's a big thing. In 2022, the Cayuga County Highway Department replaced a 3,500 square foot really aging salt shed in the Auburn facility with an 11,520 square foot monolithic large capacity salt shed. Demolition was started in the summer of 2022 and completed in October of 2022. This salt shed increases Cayuga County's readiness for large snow events, which we haven't had many this year, thank God, but it is all ready. Bridges. Cayuga County Highway replaced 2 bridges in 2022 utilizing the Bridge New York program for the grant money. Ledyard Road Bridge over Little Salmon Creek in the town of Ledyard, and Ridge Road over Yager Creek in the town of Fleming. Roads. Cayuga County completed the East Brutus Street Road project in Weedsport this year. This project included new ADA compliant sidewalks, road crossings, and signage. Cayuga County completed 52.52 miles of service treatment as a preventive maintenance and an additional 55.81 miles of pavement rehab on the 508-mile county road system. Last but not least is the improvement of the parking lot at the mental health building. I think everybody that's ever gone up there for anything finds you can't find a parking place. We used to be able to use part of the hospital's parking area, but now with the new cancer center, that has been taken away. With the help of the Building and Grounds and Highway Department, the existing parking lot increased from 12 to 23 spots. The goal in the spring is to increase it to 23 to approximately 31. This will improve upon the parking convenience for the clients who visit the facility daily and the dedicated employees providing the services. Mental health is needed now more than ever, I believe, and we're trying to increase the parking area so the clients can get in and not have to walk too far. We thank and appreciate all the staff working on this project for the enhancement of parking for our community services. Before I introduce Shireen, I just want to say, and I hope I don't get emotional because Mike and I have been friends forever. So, Mike, we're going to miss you. You've done a great job. You're a great friend. You're a veteran friend of mine and you're a colleague, and we will miss you. Thank you, everybody. Shireen?
Thank you, Chairman. You've got me tearing up here. I'm very thankful I didn't fall up the stairs. I am very honored to be a part of this presentation today. Thank you for having me. I know that we're on a time limit, and it's sort of like being at the Oscars. However, I'm pretty sure if I speak too long that no music will play to remind me to stop my speech. However, if it does play, I will laugh along with you, and I'm sure it'll be in the paper. Remember that, Steve, when you start your part of your presentation. Thank you for the city for their presentation. Nice job, by the way. First, a little about me. I was born and raised in this county. I chose to build my experience and knowledge and raise my family here. An additional blessing is that my children, now adults,
grew up and chose to work and build their lives and families here. I am so lucky, and actually, we as a community are really lucky. I am most grateful for my employment with Cayuga County. It has been 18 years. Although my longevity exists, my knowledge never ceases. There is a lot to know about this spectacular county. The people, the places, how it works, who does what, where, and for whom. Gosh, I really get overwhelmed at times with the great activity surrounding this community. The learning and the knowledge is ongoing. I started the position of the operations officer in May of 2022. Prior to that, I worked with Sue Dwyer, the Cayuga County clerk, and was the supervisor of the DMV for 14 years. And boy, do I have stories. However, remember, I'm on a time limit, so I need to focus. Although not in the current position very long, it seems that there is so much to talk about and to brag about relative to our employees and the devoted contributors to our services. As Chairman Gould stated, our legislators, our employees, our volunteers, and our members of the community make this county what it is today. It is definitely a community team effort. I have several people ask me, what is it that the operation officer does? Or what is the position? Are you a legislator? Well, the position has actually grown into being a support, a guide, a project manager, a sounding board, a facilitator, a mentor, a quote, just want to bounce something off of you, end quote, position. Every day is actually new. They say variety is the spice of life. With that, I'm here to focus on the departmental operations of the county. The dedicated employees and management of this county are really a rare group of individuals. Our employees and their expertise in their service areas work together as a team to build a sound foundation and ensure that our county is safe, that residents have shelter, that they receive medical attention in a timely fashion, that children have daycare or foster care, that families have medical insurance, food, that our water is safe, laws are abided by, veterans are assisted, that we have the most updated technology to enhance our services, and that we have fair representation. I can go on and on. We do have a great team. I would love to highlight them all, but I am going to highlight a few. Remember, I have to watch time. So here's the Cayuga County Records Department. Their project is DREAMS. A lot of people will say, well, what is DREAMS? DREAMS is the Digital Records Electronic Access Management System. It's a 4-phased digital solution which will digitize 12,209 cubic square feet of records. There are a lot of benefits to the project, such as the county will no longer need a records retention storage facility. All of the records will be digitized. It'll reduce the amount of office space needed in most, if not all, the departments. Complementary departments will be able to work more efficiently in the same office space, and it'll ensure protection and preservation of all our permanent and historic records. And it will save tons of paper and time because it's much easier to store digital documents. And it'll be quicker to find and share them. And this will be very good for the public as well to access their documents. DREAMS is a $4 million project, and funding will come from ARPA as well as federal funds. Next, I wanted to highlight the Cayuga County Emergency Management Services Department. This is Riley Shirtliff. He's the Director of Emergency Management Services. Riley came to us in October of 2022. He came to us from Alaska. He is a third-generation firefighter that started out here in the southern end of Cayuga County with Genoa Fire Department. He was a chief of Cooper Landing Emergency Services in Alaska and was the first vice president for the Alaska State Firefighters Association. Not only is he getting acclimated to his current role in Cayuga County, he's spearheading the Fire Training Center renovation project that Chairman Gould highlighted earlier. We've worked together, Riley and I, and his team on the completion of the Cayuga County Continuity of Operations Plan. It's also known as the COOP, and the Continuity of Emergency Management Plan, the CEMP. We are now working on updates to the Cayuga County Emergency Plan. Riley also worked to obtain Cayuga County Storm Ready recognition which is a result of the Emergency Management's Office vision, leadership, hard work, and commitment. Our community should take pride in our county sustaining this recognition. Because of this recognition, our county can use the Storm Ready logo on letterhead as well as the brochures. Riley brings a lot of energy and expertise into Cayuga County. We welcome him and we're very appreciative of his and his staff services to our community team. Up next is the Cayuga County Youth Bureau. Deborah Dennis is the new Cayuga County Youth Bureau Director. She started her position in January this year. She has come to work with our community with her Master's in Recreation and Leisure Services Administration from East Carolina University. She's had 20 years of professional career in Parks and Recreation. She stated to me that she was very grateful for the opportunity that she was given here in Cayuga County. And I have to say that the county is very thankful of her decision to come work with us. So what is the Youth Bureau? Cayuga County Youth Bureau actively supports programs which seek to foster the positive involvement and attachment of youth to family, school, and positive peer groups. It also recognizes that a youth's positive commitments reduce the likelihood of occurrence of delinquent behavior. In addition, the Bureau works in partnership with many other organizations and individuals in the public and our private sector. The Youth Bureau works with the Youth Board throughout Cayuga County and develops programs tailored to the local youth's needs and resources. So the Youth Bureau has awarded $78,000 in programs in 2022. Few of these programs are Booker T. Washington, YMCA, CHAD, the Rev Theater, and Cayuga Counseling. These programs brought to Cayuga County a popular summer camp experience, intramural sports programs, YPAL's mentoring program, Too Good for Violence, quote unquote, program in 6 of our 7 county school systems, Summer Youth Theater, and the Spirit program, focusing on an alternative education model for grades kindergarten through 6 in the Auburn and Large School District. We appreciate the services that our Youth Bureau provides our community team. And thank you for Deborah Dennis for joining our efforts and being a part of our service spotlight. So moving on to Information Technology Department for Cayuga County, known as IT, who graciously helped us all. Thank you, thank you. Tom Bunn is the Chief Information Officer for Cayuga County since July of 2021. Tom serves on several committees and groups, including the New York State Local Government Information Technology Directors Association, and is also a member of the New York State Information Technology Task Force. He is currently completing the Certified Government Chief Information Officer program through Rutgers University and will graduate in May. The IT department has worked hard to implement upgrades and enhance the technology capability of Cayuga County, and I would like to highlight a few. So first are the enhancements to our network. I know, isn't that great? And cybersecurity. IT installed new equipment, increasing our performance and security. They improved the existing wireless network infrastructure, increasing our accessibility and security, and redesigned the network configuration, increasing our performance and providing flexibility for future IT projects. Finally, they partnered with CISA and New York State to improve our cybersecurity posture, which is very important. Our IT department also modernized productivity software, and it's so exciting. The county is upgraded to Office 365. This software provides access to all software tools from one location and from anywhere. It also increases our productivity, security, and flexibility to all our county employees. Our IT department enhanced in the improved digital presence. I use this phrase a lot because of Tom. Thanks, Tom. Digital signage has been installed throughout the county office building. The content is targeted to citizens and employees of the county. It increases engagement, exposure, and information sharing. Signage is projected to be installed also in several other county buildings in the coming months. Another area of IT upgrade is to our security and emergency broadcast. They implemented a security camera solution within the county office building. What did this do? It increased our visibility, protection to our citizens and our staff. And we now have a new emergency broadcast paging system. Next is our legislative chambers has had upgrades as well. IT installed the state-of-the-art audio video equipment. This creates an immersive experience for both in-room and remote participants. And we also now have assistive listening technology. Just moving right on up. Last but not least are the IT upgrades to our public safety building. We have upgraded 911 dispatch software application Spillman Flex, upgraded computer hardware in sheriff patrol vehicles. We have upgraded IT hardware, 911 dispatch center, and upgraded Trax, which is ticketing and incident reporting software. Installed the FirstNet cellular service on all patrol vehicles, drastically improving the connectivity. We appreciate our IT department and thank them for all of these upgrades. Another development in service is Lauren Walsh, the director of the mental health department with Sheriff Skank, and other staff from both departments have teamed up and are working together on the threat assessment team. The mission of this team is to identify, assess, and coordinate management of individuals that are potentially engaged in behaviors that target violence acts throughout our area schools and our community. The goal of this team is to assist with preventing violence, increase public safety, and assist those that have a potential risk access to services that will help them to move away from violence or a threatening behavior. It is a multidisciplinary team composed of members of the Sheriff's Office, DSS, and mental health. Mental health staff work closely with schools on providing the training on how to use this assessment process, and they meet monthly to discuss individual cases. The goal for this team is to expand beyond the schools and develop information sharing and communication platforms to help identify threatening behaviors that can be managed. Not sure if everyone is aware that mental health continues to be an open access clinic. What this means is that individuals can walk in and meet with therapists without a wait list for services. But now there will also be a daytime mobile crisis unit at mental health. April 17th is the official start date for this program. The team is composed of a licensed therapist and a case manager. This team will mobilize to complete mental health assessments, including risk assessments, safety plans, and referrals for ongoing services. What is the main objective of the program? It is to divert mental health and/or substance-related crises from law enforcement to mental health professionals and decrease ER visits by resolving the crisis in this community. Many referral sources are involved, including, but not limited to, the mental health clinic, community agencies, law enforcement, school districts, community-based organizations, DSS, and individuals themselves. What a nice addition to our community team. So appreciative of the hard work that Lauren Walsh and her staff at Mental Health put into this program to be successful. And congratulations. Aren't they cute? Last but not least are the two new helpers to the Cayuga County Mental Health. 2 therapy dogs. They're so sweet. And they have been through 4 out of the 6 weeks of training for therapy dog work. I sure hope they receive some good treats for their job well done. Lauren Walsh at Mental Health stated that there is evidence across a wide age range, from kids to the elderly, that prove that this type of therapy is a complementary therapy, and it has many benefits, such as it reduces anxiety and depression. Did you know that petting an animal mitigates the body's stress response? The dogs actually provide a level of distraction that helps patients feel more comfortable communicating about their emotions and their concerns. There have been so many developments and operational improvements that expand upon our county services. As you see, we just keep thriving. I will end my portion of the presentation with highlighting our Cayuga Gold program, formerly known as the Employee First program. This just makes my heart smile. It's a program that centers around employees. The GOLD stands for Great Opportunity to Lend Ideas and Deliver Gratitude. It's a means of increasing communication amongst the employees. It also provides recognition for above and beyond and allows for a central portal for general communications, whether it be information on wellness, upcoming events, or just a way to reach out between departments and staff. Tom Bunn, myself, and the Human Resource Administrator, Diane Ferris, we work together with a great group of staff of the county that volunteer to promote this program. Sarah Blowers, another dedicated employee of our county, drafted the logo for our program. And a big shout out to Sarah. The recognition part of this program awards employees for a job well done. Our first recipients since the program reactivation were Ashley Agley and Kevin Head. Thank you to everyone who goes above and beyond. With that said, we appreciate our team of employees. They again contribute to our community team. Still no music. Okay, just a couple more words. I enjoy working daily with each and every department. Our county should be proud of our team. As Chairman Gould stated, we continue to grow and strengthen to ensure that we thrive on in the future ahead. It has been said that it takes a village to raise a child. It also takes a community to make a county shine. And we do that. Thank you for giving me time today to brag about and provide updates on our employees and the county operations. I now will be happy to turn it over to Steve Lynch to present to you a vision of our county's planning and development projects.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Chairman Gould and Shireen. That is a hard act to follow. I know that I'm the only thing standing between you getting back to your offices, your overstuffed inboxes, the phone calls you have to make, so I'll try to move through this quickly. It's certainly a privilege and a pleasure to work with the chairman and Shireen, the entire team of legislators, employees, and stakeholders that deliver services each and every day to the residents of Cayuga County. This year marks the 17th year that I've had the honor of leading the county planning department, and the role and responsibility really would not be possible without a dedicated and very talented team of individuals. And I'd like to take this moment to thank every one of them, in addition to the other departments that constantly collaborate with us and help us. Our staff of 7 planners and full-time and administrative assistants includes staff with 20-plus years in the planning department and planning work, and people that are just right out of graduate school and are just starting their careers. They all work together to try to improve the county. Together, the team brings a focus to priority project areas such as economic development support, municipal land use planning and zoning for our towns and our villages, protection, promotion, preservation for our farms and our agricultural uses, waterfront revitalization and community development for our towns and villages, including our shoreline communities. Protection of water quality and our natural resources is a focus. And we also focus on developing our county and community parks and recreation resources to enrich the quality of life for the community and to provide for an economic development support and make this a place where people want to come, live, and raise their families. I'd like to touch on recent and current projects in each of these focus areas, and I promise to try to move quickly through that to share with you the work that's underway. So let's start with our support for economic development. Although the county created the Cayuga Economic Development Agency, or CEDA, in 2010 to focus on economic development, be the face of economic development, and provide staff to the industrial development agencies at the county and at the city, the planning department has continued its administration of one of those entities, the Cayuga County Development Corporation, or the CCDC. It's a 5-member board of community representatives appointed by the legislature who volunteer their time and service to the CCDC, and it has 2 primary functions. One is it is the on behalf of issuer of civic facilities bonds, which are tax-exempt bond financing structures for communities' facility projects, such as hospitals, dormitories, nursing homes, and the like. This project financing can often be the difference between a project happening and not happening. We also operate a revolving loan fund for business development, and we loan funds throughout the county and the city and in the county. We have an active loan portfolio of 6 current loans for $760,000 total. And just last year, 4 loans matured and were paid off for another $720,000. The bottom line is we have $1.5 million to lend now, and we work very closely with CETA, Maureen and Michael, to do the intake and administration of those loans. Another major focus of the area, as you might imagine, is the planning for county, towns, and villages, and land use planning. The list and the county map shows the range of land use underway in 2022 and moving forward in 2023. As you can see, we are working with communities across the county in both town and village settings. Our staff is currently working on 6 zoning ordinances and 4 comprehensive plans. There's different colors up there for those. And some of these are completely new for communities and some are updates and revisions. In all cases, what we are doing as a result of the towns and villages knowing what we do and reaching out to us for assistance. As you will see in the upcoming slides, the land use and community development work often results in local residents identifying community improvement and redevelopment projects that follow the completion of a comprehensive plan or similar plans. We then work with our local elected officials and community residents to target and secure the funding to make these projects come to life. An example of this is the recently established New York Forward program that resulted in our staff preparing a number of applications for community redevelopment in 2022 and resulted in an award to the Village of Moravia last month. That's Rocky Mulvaney, the mayor of the Village of Moravia, accepting the award from the Department of State down in Homer last month. Staff worked with the Village of Moravia to prepare the grant application, building off a comprehensive plan that we had recently completed. The $2.25 million grant award from the state will leverage private reinvestment in the village, supporting the renovations of buildings on Main Street and a number of special projects for the parks that are in and around the downtown village. In all, we assisted 4 villages in preparing these New York Forward applications in 2022, and we're going to continue to work with those communities and perhaps a couple more for the 2023 round, which will be coming out this spring. Our land use planning also focuses on areas outside the village and extends into the county and the agricultural landscape with the protection of the county's working farms and farmland. An important farmland protection tool is the New York State funded Purchase of Development Rights, or PDR program. This is a program that Cayuga County has been engaged in since 2001. Starting with a $1 million award to a 676-acre farm in Fleming in 2001, it continues to today. Between its start in 2001 and last year, the planning department has worked with our farmers to secure an approximately $18 million in New York State funding to protect a total of over 9,000 acres on 18 farms in Cayuga County. Under the PDR program, the farms stay in the hands of farmers and on the tax rolls while keeping the land permanently in agriculture. As you can see from the map, a cluster of protected farmland lies in the south central region of the county, and more recently there have been the addition of permanently protected farms moving into the central and up into the northern part of the county. While the protection of farms and farmland is crucial to our ag economy, our rural landscape, and the livelihood of many residents, so too is the abundant freshwater resources contained in our Finger Lakes, Lake Ontario, and other water bodies that support our communities and are critical to our future. Cayuga County Water Quality Management Agency, or WQMA, was created by the county legislature over 25 years ago. I think Dan is here from Cayuga Cornell Cooperative Extension, who is now the chairman of the Water Quality Management Agency. Hello, Dan. Over the years, the agency has been a key source of information, research, partnership, and collaboration between stakeholders and agencies collectively engaged in the oversight and protection of our water resources here in Cayuga County. The agency is staffed by county planning, doing the minutes, the communication, and so on. And we have the active participation and support on a great many organizations and agencies from the local level right up to the state level. They meet monthly to share information and to track what the working groups are doing and to take a look at the progress and what needs to be focused on. They circulate a monthly newsletter regarding water resources, and we prepare an annual report, hence the cover, which is shared with the legislature, municipalities, and other stakeholders. It's available on the WQMA website, off the county website. Another important project for water resource protection is work within the Owasco Lake watershed. The New York State DEC and the New York State Department of State recently approved the state-funded Owasco Lake Watershed 9-element plan, or the 9E plan. 9E plans are a planning framework for watershed protection developed by the United States Environmental Protection Agency. These water quality plans assess water quality indicators within watersheds, define water quality concerns, and identify focus strategies to ensure lake water supply, aquatic habitats, and recreational uses are protected and preserved. With state approval of the 9E plan and adoption of the plan by the legislature, a 9E coordinating committee headed by the Owasco Lake Watershed Management Council has been established and is meeting monthly to implement the plan. The 9E plan and its implementation is just one aspect of water resource protection at the county level, as the county and other stakeholders implement and support a range of protection efforts. State funding and county funding combine to provide resource monitoring and protection efforts across the county's lakes, streams, and waterways. The photo here shows the recently installed boat cleaning station at the public boat launch at Emerson Park, which was funded by Finger Lakes Lake Ontario Water Protection Alliance, from which we got an annual grant, and that is given out to different projects throughout the county. The county legislature also annually allocates funds to agencies and organizations that sample, test, and monitor water quality within our various watersheds, creating a long-term database, which we use to assess the success of protection and mitigation efforts within the watersheds. With more than 50% of Cayuga County residents relying on Owasco Lake for their public water supply, the protection of water quality in Owasco Lake and its 205 square mile watershed is critical to the social and economic future of Cayuga County. While there have been continuous efforts and progress on water quality protection by all stakeholders in the Owasco Lake watershed, the increase in cyanotoxins spread by harmful algal blooms, or HABs, in the lake resulted in an effort in 2017 to update and improve the 38-year-old, now 39-year-old, Owasco Lake watershed rules and regulations. Between 2017 and 2020, a team of stakeholders came together to prepare an update to the 1984 Owasco Lake watershed rules and regulations at the request of the city of Auburn and the town of Owasco, who are the water purveyors for public water sourced from the lake that serves more than 45,000 users, including residents, businesses, manufacturing, health centers, hospitals, etc. Triggered in part by the cyanobacteria toxins in the treated water from Owasco Lake by the city of Auburn and the town of Owasco, which was a result of the HABs, the updated rules and regulations were created to address these watershed and water quality challenges. The draft rules and regulations were presented to a joint meeting of the city of Auburn and the town of Owasco elected officials in October of 2020, with the bodies both approving resolutions asking the New York State Department of Health to approve the updated regulations that they have put forward. In June of 2022, almost 2 years later, the New York State Department of Health established an interagency working group of state agencies to review the proposed rules and regulations and initiated a series of working sessions with local stakeholders involved in crafting the new rules. The state agencies placed the work sessions on pause just last November, but there are plans to restart the work, and we expect that to start in May of this year. Planning staff is also working on a number of waterfront revitalization projects within our shoreline communities. The most recent work has been funded by New York State Department of State Local Waterfront Revitalization Grant Program and involved the village of Cayuga along the northeast shore of Cayuga Lake and a joint waterfront revitalization plan for the town of Sterling and the village of Fairhaven on Lake Ontario and within Little Sodus Bay. Final draft plans for both areas, created with the active participation of community residents, were submitted to the state for review in late 2022. We expect them to be approved very soon. These planning phases set the stage for projects that are important to the communities and their residents. The department follows up these plans and works with the communities to secure funding and install the improvements. A good example of planning that results in community improvements is the 2022 New York State Grant Award to the county for construction of an ADA-compliant kayak launch at Frontenac Park down in the village of Union Springs on Cayuga Lake. The project was included in the Union Springs adopted local waterfront revitalization plan. That was the first one we did in the county. And the Cayuga Lake Blueway Trail Plan, a waterway trail running along Cayuga Lake shoreline from the city of Ithaca up through Cayuga County and around to Seneca County, that was spearheaded by the three planning departments working together from Tompkins, Seneca, and Cayuga County. Continuing with waterfront revitalization and our work with parks and trails, these images show two New York State grant-funded trail bridges along the Cato Brutus Trail. This project also shows the collaboration of county departments and agencies. The structural bridge abutments were fabricated by our own Cayuga County Soil and Water Conservation District staff, and they were craned into place by them to accept the pre-manufactured bridge structures. This streamlined the project and created significant savings and actually made the projects economically feasible to do. With these connections in place and a few additional improvements, Cayuga County residents will soon have access to a 20-mile-long trail starting at the Erie Canal Trail system near the Thruway, going all the way up to the shoreline of Lake Ontario. And speaking of the Erie Canal Trail, this slide shows the Erie Canal Rewatering and Trail Connections Project. We really got to get a better name for that project. A project funded by New York State with equal matching shares from the town of Brutus and from the Cayuga County Legislature. This trail will connect Shazzle Park in the village of Port Byron and Aqueduct Park in the town of Brutus, which is just west of downtown Weedsport. This planning project advances the design and engineering for trail improvements along the towpath trail connecting these two parks, including plans to open and sort of rewater the canal to support canoe and kayak paddling in the former canal, in addition to trail improvements for hikers and bikers connecting the two parks. This phase of the project will be complete by the end of the year, and plans are underway to identify and secure the capital funding needed to construct these community improvements. Another planning project that will lead to construction of shared community facilities is the Sterling Fairhaven Community Connections Trail Feasibility Study. On the right, on the top of the screen, is Lake Ontario, and that's Little Sodas Bay with the village of Fairhaven at the bottom, and Coloca Winery somewhere in that last leg going up to the bay on the west side. Awarded funding from the 2022 New York State CFA round, this trail will connect West Barrier Bar Park on Lake Ontario to Main Street in Fairhaven and onto the Fairhaven Beach State Park and the Lake Ontario shoreline, making that complete loop. Identifying and improving community assets is a revitalization strategy that works. Staying with our Lake Ontario shoreline, planning staff has worked with County Parks and Trails Department to reimagine the visitor experience at the Sterling Nature Center on Lake Ontario. With 1,400 acres of preserved woods, wetlands, and meadows, and almost 2 miles of shoreline along Lake Ontario, the Sterling Nature Center offers residents and tourists with access to one of the most pristine natural settings in the county. If anybody hasn't been there yet, I would really recommend it highly that you go up and check out this huge, beautiful piece of land on Lake Ontario. Preliminary master plans and new facility plans prepared by our department were already in place when an opportunity to secure more than $4 million in New York State capital funding came to the table. With these funds and with county matching funds authorized by the legislature, a new 5,000 square foot visitor and welcome center and interpretive building is being constructed, including new outdoor classrooms and an outdoor pavilion event space, all overlooking Lake Ontario from the bluff. The construction project was started last fall, and with this new break in the winter weather, we hope it will soon start reconstruction, and the estimated completion is in October of this year, where we'll have a ribbon cutting ceremony. An overview of waterfront revitalization and county parks and the work of county planning and our Parks Department must also include our comprehensive plans for improvements to Emerson Park on the shore of Owasco Lake. And these are my last few slides. The master plan for Emerson Park, adopted unanimously by the county legislature in 2015, calls for a range of upgrades and capital improvements throughout the park. A key goal of the master plan calls for the revitalization of Dover Island as the center of waterfront activity in the park. This slide illustrates the plan for Dover Island and includes a lakefront open-air concert and event venue and beachfront plaza, along with new floating docks for lakefront access, a new relocated restroom and concession facility at the center of the island that also opens up the shoreline when we remove the bathrooms that are there now, a new event pavilion and rental shelters on the island for people to rent and to have events, and a multi-use destination playground. A capital project of this scope and scale must be implemented in stages, each capital phase building on and supporting the next preceding phase. The lakefront concert and event venue is the first phase we are working on to advance. It will build on the successful 2022 Epic Concert Series initiated in partnership with the Friends of Emerson Park and would not have been possible without their cooperation and collaboration. The Epic Concert Series of free weekly concerts started last summer, and it grew to gatherings of concert project fans that topped 1,200 people per evening at its height. The Epic Concert Series will continue in 2023 as design and construction plans for the concert stage and related amenities are advanced. Planning and Parks are currently interviewing architect firms and teams that specialize in the design and development of indoor and outdoor concert venues and festival venues. This year, our plan is to assemble an experienced and seasoned team to move the project from concept plans and preliminary cost estimates that were prepared in 2019 to full construction plans and current project budgets relevant in 2023, paving the way to secure outside funding and sponsorships and leverage county investments. Any big corporations or sponsors out there that want to name the concert stage, just let us know. Realizing the Lakefront Concert and Event Center will provide a new home for the free summer Epic Concert Series. The concert venue can also capture regional, middle market, concert and festival sector by providing an annual schedule of ticketed concerts with a capacity to hold 2,500 to 4,500 people per show, bringing in local and regional tourists and generating revenue both directly and indirectly for the county. Assembling an experienced design and development team is key as the next step in seeking the outside capital and construction funding needed to complete this first phase. With detailed plans, current construction cost estimates, and programming plans in place, the county will be in a position to leverage dedicated county funding that has already been allocated with outside funding and sponsorships, generate direct and indirect revenue, and establish Emerson Park as a regional destination within the county. Well, I hope you are excited as I am about the projects that are underway and the positive change they could bring to our county and our community. These projects cannot be realized without the commitment and leadership of our elected officials ready and willing to support the work. I could not ask for a more dedicated chair of the legislature than Chairman Dave Gould, who is working tirelessly to support the work and partnership needed to bring these projects to bear. I think I'm going to end my presentation now to your applause, which I'm sure is because I'm ending the presentation. Thank you.